So we're at the recent acquisition that Jason's just done, the plumbing company. Luckily, there's 0 degrees here. It was -6 down the scaffolding yard earlier on, and who knows what it was when your staff turned up this morning.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, tell us a little bit about this one. How did this come about?
It was a deal that I'd got talking to a guy like 3 months ago. Didn't really know him. I've played golf with him twice, funnily enough, over the years. So there was a little bit of an intro there. He approached me. He said, like, would I be interested in looking at the plumbing company? He was struggling, so I was getting ready to sort of put an offer on the table, and I think sort of issues with him had transpired and things had come quickly. So it's a distressed business, effectively. So we basically trashed the deal out on my kitchen table. He came up to see me on a Saturday. He said, look, I'm really struggling. I said I could do with your help in the business next week. And I was like, wow, okay. That's so we've had to put some safeguards in place and stuff. So, you know, we put an agreement in place, but I'm not going on as a director yet until sort of the accounts are finalised, and we can't do the shareholdings because there's dividends involved, etc. Right. So once that gets finalised, that paperwork will come into place. The business is good. It's got good margin. It's profitable in the respect of we can get it profitable. So it's not at the moment. It is struggling. But the big issue is not the business. It's the owner. Right. So we've come in, we've taken all financial control of the business straight away. We've taken the card off him, so we control the expenditure in that respect, and we've got full control. So although the share transfer is not done yet and the directorship's not done, we've got agreements in place for that.
I think it's a good thing though with a distressed business. You can move very quickly with a distressed deal, and it's quite important as well, especially when a business is struggling and it's no fault of the overall business, and especially when there's staff there. Someone who comes in that has the knowledge on what to do to quickly make some changes helps massively. So we just seen at your other site, you've pulled your computer out and you moved it down here. So let's take a look at where you're stationed on a day-to-day basis.
Treadmills, you're going to see. So the plan is now we're going to put a stud work across here. We're going to take it across there. So we're going to introduce more office space here. So we're going to have 2 other people up here from the other yard. We'll work our logistically out over Christmas now. We've had permission off the local authority to put 2 storage containers outside, like the shipping containers. So all our pipe work will go in there. So we won't actually need much indoor space here. So that's the plan out here.
Do you look to hold on to a lot of inventory or
No, not really. Just general stock, so fittings. This is what slows the guys down. So if they haven't got this, they're going into the merchants in the morning, and they'll walk in at 7:30, and they'll be coming out at 9 o'clock. I'm seeing Dylan's thing, and he's saying he's putting the telly on for the World Cup to keep his customers in the shop. I don't want my plumbers in the merchants. Talking, so no, we just keep basic stock.
It's crazy because see, these little tiny, whether it's elbows or
well, the value of them is 50 pence, but to send someone in to go and fetch this, you're talking an hour's wage, the van, the fuel, and lost time. So
and like you said, every time they go in, they're going to have a coffee, and it does lose a lot of time.
So everything you see is work in progress.
Yeah, well, it's nice and warm in here.
Yeah, it's lovely and warm in here.
You can tell this is your office.
Yeah. This is the new setup for now. When we came in here 6 weeks ago, there was one desk here, and that computer was here. That was the IT infrastructure for the business. Right. So one computer. Yeah. So like we're up and running. We're set up. Nice. We're ready for the new year basically now. Yeah. So we'll stabilise the business now up till Christmas and for the first few weeks after. We have got some growth aspirations in that. Currently, with the staff that we've got, I think it's turning over sort of 250, 300k. I think we're setting ourselves some targets in the next 12 months to sort of, nothing too ambitious, but if we can get to 700, 800k, which we think is easily doable through the contracts that we've got, introducing a little bit of capital in bringing some new vehicles in. This isn't asset rich, so I don't need to go and spend X amount of money to to sit here to generate income. You know, what I got to do is I just got to put a man in a van and send him out to go and earn money. We're not looking to tap into any new work streams. We just think going back to basics, simplifying things, getting customer service sorted, we can easily get this business back earning a good profit, basically.
Do you think that there's some synergy as well for like some cross-selling from, you know, you've got a building firm, you've got a scaffolding firm, and now plumbing, even though plumbing is under construction, but do you feel that there's some potential cross-selling to be done there on some of the other stuff you do?
Yeah, definitely. So with the building firm, it does a lot of roofing works. So on the roofing element, with the local authorities and the housing associations we work for now, gas flues coming through the roofs, there's a lot of work there in isolation, turning them back on, so we'll generate a little bit of income there. But also in the building firm as well, it's been a subcontract heavy business, so we've been working for other builders, but now it's coming of age where it's having its own contracts. So it's got a good framework with the local authority, and it's got one with the local university. Now part of that is we're pricing a lot of schools, and there's a lot of M&E involved in them. So it's starting. It wasn't a synergy we were looking for, but I think it's going to be there where, you know, we've got drawings on the board here now. That's not particularly, that's something else, that's some tanking work, but there's a lot of M&E coming out now, and we're just bouncing the two between them, and we think there is a good potential there, to be honest with you.
So you mentioned how there's a lot of things that need changing here, but there was also things they was doing good, and they still continue to do good.
Yeah.
And there's the type of things where you think, oh, maybe we could do this in our business. But you've also mentioned how there's so much opportunity for recurring revenue in this business. So the two best things for working capital, recurring revenue and cash advances. So this company already makes a load of money, it just needs to manage the money better.
Yeah, they're two things you've mentioned there, which we weren't getting in the other two businesses. So we don't get any recurring revenue as such. We get repeat customers, and we don't get cash deposits at all. Like, it's unheard of in the construction industry. But yeah, it works a little bit different, especially on the fire sprinkler side of things, and that generates a service every year. So does all the boiler installs, and every install we do, that will create recurring revenue for years to come with the servicing. So there's a tangent there, or another arm to the business where we can just create a servicing element there, where you probably, you know, you're looking at, I don't want to put a figure on it, but you'll have maybe 10, 15, don't want to put a figure on it, 20% of your revenue coming from that element, from just every time you go and do a service, an install. That's not the end of it. You're going to be going back there every year now.
It brings up that LTV, like, you know, that lifetime value of those customers increases significantly just by good customer service, following up, and some integration of tech helps because it can follow up for you multiple times in various different ways. So I understand you work on some of the new build work as well in this company too. Now, as you start to look over, I see on the whiteboard, you're looking at some of the overheads and all the different things that you probably need to change or at least get control over. Have you looked at some of the retention that's been put in place in some of the new build work, understanding now if it isn't in a great place and you're working on it, you may need to fulfill some additional work down the line?
Yeah, we've come in, we've looked at the numbers. Thankfully, there isn't the current client base. There's not really much retention being held, and the clients he's got good payment terms with. So, in terms of future growth, we'd probably have to be selective in our clients in the first 3 to 4 months until we build up a little bit of buffer. But with the building firm and the scaffolding firm, we're used to retention. We know how it works. We know how to play it. We know how to cater for it. We know how to look after the cash flow effectively. If we were to start going heavy into new builds now in the new year, we'd need some funding to absorb the burn rate then effectively with that work would generate.
You've mentioned that you brought a few staff down from the scaffolding firm down to here. Overall, how many staff have you currently got across the 3 businesses, including subbies?
Including subbies, I couldn't put a handle on the subbies. It's 45. Full-time staff between the 3 companies at the moment, which is a challenge in itself. But we need the people to deliver the service and to enable the growth. So that's one massive thing that we've embraced recently. I think we were probably 20 staff 12 months ago between the two businesses back then. So yeah, we've grown in numbers drastically. Turnover's followed, profit hopefully has followed. No, it has, but you know,
it's interesting as well, because like you got aspirations of obviously doubling, tripling revenue again from here, and it'd be interesting to see how many more staff you need to double the revenue to triple, just because a lot of the stuff you do, you can consolidate a lot of stuff as well as you grow.
We can. If they were 3 individual businesses, we'd need a lot more people. So we've been able to sort of, I don't know what the right word is, but we can cross-lend these members of staff into the other businesses. So in this office now then, the building company's contracts manager sits here. He is independent in that he looks after the building company, but we've also got Phil, the group quantity surveyor effectively. So he's looking after contractual and finance issues in the 3 businesses. To employ 3 quantity surveyors, you know, they're not cheap. Like, I mean, you know.
Well, you know.
They command a good rate. They all want a company vehicle, so that would be 3 company vehicles. You know, 3 desks, 3 computers. So we're able to sort of dilute and spread costs like that to make the other businesses more, you know, more profitable effectively.
And do you do any QS work yourself anymore, or is that a thing of the past?
No, I'm still doing a bit. That's my one bone of contention with how quickly the businesses are growing. I'm still doing a lot of estimating. Not so much quantity surveying, Phil's dealing with that, but I am doing a lot of tenders and a lot of estimating. That's one more role to fill maybe in the new year.
So, got scaffolding, plumbing and a building firm. You mentioned just then potentially an electrical firm next. For anyone that is looking to buy a business, what would be your top tips for those people that are looking to potentially acquire a business, and especially their first one? Being a business owner yourself, growing multiple businesses, what would be your best advice for them?
If it's going to be your first one, I would try and find one with a management structure in place. I got to be honest, especially if it's your first time you're dipping your toes into business. There's so much to learn. But if you were to buy a business with a management structure in place, you'd learn so quick. You could still buy a business with no management structure in place, but you know, it'd be a steep learning curve. While if you do one with a management structure in place, you've got the benefit of someone else still doing the work, but you can piggyback off their back and learn and see how it works. Business can be a tough game, and jumping straight into the deep water is difficult. I'm not saying it can't be done. It can be done, and people do it. But there are easier routes, and I think looking at a well-established business with good profit margins, cash in bank, being liquid, and a management structure, you're on to a winner.
So, really appreciate you showing us around.
No problem.
It's been awesome. That's another episode of Real People. This is Jason. Make sure you give him a follow in the link below. Awesome. Cheers, bro.
Cheers,
Awesome, bro.